Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Pocket with Joe. It's Friday, February 3rd. I know there's no normal hockey games on today, but I wanted to come at you guys, just give you a little bit of information on some of these skill competitions and the All-Star game this weekend. Now, do I recommend betting the All-Star game, going big in the All-Star game, betting? Absolutely not. It's a lot of fun, though, to watch these games. It's really interesting to see rivals within the division play each other. So it's going to be a lot of fun on the ice. I'm going to just break down a couple of these skilled competitions that are happening today, what I'm liking in those, as well as the All-Star games kicking off tomorrow. Now, remember, like I said, please don't bet these big. There's a lot of unknowns how these games are going to go off, a lot less ability to make money than we do have in the regular games here. So big shout out to you guys for joining me here. Hey to Ben and Matt already here over on YouTube. So let's look at some of these skill competitions. Really interesting what we have here. I like some of these ones, the three main ones that people really are looking at. We're not looking at the mascot event. We're not going to bet which mascot comes out and wins these events that they're doing, dance-off parties, that kind of thing. Now, if you're there at the location, absolutely, is it fun to throw a couple dollars on? Yes. We're not there. I'm not betting it. So I'm staying off events like that. But looking at this hardest shot, really interesting to see who we have as the contenders in this. Now, Alex Ovechkin will be here for the Metropolitan. Now, this normally is won by a defensive player. Alex Ovechkin, the forward for the Washington Capitals, has been able to get the win. Now, when we look at him, and let me just pull up his numbers, what he won with. Back in 2008, he had a shot that was 101.3 miles per hour, which has been the slowest shot to win since 2007, which is just absolutely insane. So we have lots of competitors in here. Seth Jones for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, he's been in this competition 3 separate times. All 3, he hasn't broken 100 miles per hour. But there is question marks on him today because he is a big, solid defensive player. If he can break that 100 miles per hour, I think he probably breaks 100 miles per hour, but at plus 380, not willing to put some money on him. Now, one player who's really interesting is Elias Peterson here for the Vancouver Canucks. He and Ovechkin are the only forwards that are competing for this hardest shot in this one here. Peterson has recorded a shot in the 2020 competition that was 102.4 miles per hour. So we know that he can get these shots firing. He finished 3rd last year. In the last year's event behind Weber and Carlson. So I think he has every ability to get the win in this one as long as he comes out strong. Now, a couple wild cards in here as well with neither Josh Morsley or Rasmus Talon. I can never pronounce his last name properly, competing in the hardest shot. So plus 400 for Josh in this one. Rasmussen coming in here at plus 350. I'm not willing to jump on either of them. If I was going to take someone, though, big shout out to you, I'm going to look at Peterson here just because we know what he's able to do. Ovechkin, yes, he could come out strong in this one, but I don't like Ovechkin is the favorite though at plus 300. I think you got to take a shot on someone who is a bigger dog in this one. Now, Big Zed, we remember him. He has held the record for the fastest shot. He recorded 108.8 miles per hour. 5-time winner of the NHL fastest or hardest shot competition, which he received in 2012. So it was really interesting when we saw him in that first shot in this competition. It came in, and I believe it was 106. And at that point, that was the fastest. And then he went back to back and got that 108.8. So all these players have 2 shots to get the hardest shot in this one. Gonna have to ride with Peterson. Looking at the next event, fastest skater, we have a lot of great skaters in this one. Connor McDavid, though, withdrew from the fastest skater. He didn't want to participate in this, which right away we all thought Connor McDavid would, if he was within this, win that one. It's interesting to see the players that are coming into this. Now, players have big motivation to win this. All of these events. I believe the winner of the skilled event gets around $30,000 American for that win. Now, Cale Makar is a nice long shot here. We know with the Colorado Avalanche, this defensive player is lights out up and down the ice. It always sticks out to me how fast he is able to move up and down that ice. So looking at Cale Makar out of the Central here, again, playing for the Colorado Avalanche, he's plus 500. I think he's a fantastic long shot. He competed in this last season, and he had a time of 13.834. So he could be a good one here. Again, you guys, when we're talking these skill competitions, we never know what these players did the night before. So if anyone's on the ground and knows what these players did the night before, it'd be really helpful. It's actually really funny. There was a couple of pre-filmed events last season that the people in attendance were able to get the bets in because the sports books didn't close off those. Again, those bets ended up being negated at the end of the day, but if you know any inside information would be interesting in this one. Now, Dylan Larkin, also a top person here. He is the favorite to win in this one at plus 250. He posted in 2016 a record of 13.172. And yeah, he's been lights out in all the competitions. So I don't know with him winning last season if he's motivated here, if he's going to come out strong, but I would be looking at someone like Cale Makar. You could also look at Chandler Stephenson here. This will be his first All-Star event. So he has been clocked in a regular game at 23 miles per hour. He's a super fast skater up and down the ice. So he's also another interesting one. He's coming in as the second favorite. We know he's able to get those goals for Vegas, and he is flying up the ice. So at plus 300 for Chandler Stephenson here, but I do think Cale Makar is where I would go with this one. Looking at the next one, we're going to look at the accuracy event. So this one, the skaters need to hit 4 targets. We've got some big names in this, of course. We got big names in all of these events, but Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Jack Hughes coming in here. The list just goes on. Kadri's in for the Calgary Flames. Kevin Hayes in for the Metropolitan of the Philadelphia Flyers. So I'm going to look at someone who's not at the top of the list. Connor McDavid of the Pacific, the Edmonton Oilers coming in at plus 500. Leon Draisaitl of the Pacific coming in at plus 600. I'm going to look for a young talent, definitely deserves to be here in the All-Star event that's been cashing me money season in, or game in, game out, not season in, season out. Jack Hughes here of the New Jersey Devils from the Metropolitan Division. He's plus 600 for the most accuracy in this one. So you guys, that's where I'm going with the skill competition. Not really going to look at anything else. We've got some really interesting events, we'll see Ovechkin and Crosby team up for the breakaway challenge, which will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how these two do in that one. But looking at these all-star games, we have the Pacific versus the Central. Now this one kicks off at 3 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. We have the Pacific coming in here at plus 102, the Central coming in at minus 124. Total of, are you ready for it? 13.5. The number 13.5 doesn't sit nicely for me. I don't like that number. But looking at the Pacific versus the Central, we have quite the players on both of them. When I look at the Pacific here, it's really interesting. So we know all of the teams are supposed to have one representative. Now, the Seattle Kraken will not have anyone here. They have, who's replacing? It's Chandler Stevenson here replacing Maddie from the Seattle Kraken. Now, he got injured, and guess what? No one else from the Kraken wanted to come to the All-Star event, so that's saying a lot. I was really hoping that we'd be able to get someone, but we have this young rookie in Chandler Stevenson coming out here for the Vegas Golden Knights. It will be his first time. Now, looking at the first-time players in here, we do have Skinner coming in as a goalie role for the Pacific. From the Edmonton Oilers, we have Logan Thompson as well from the Vegas Golden Knights as one of the goalies. Now, we have top goal scorers here, and I think this team is pretty loaded. The Pacific has 3 of the top 10 goal scorers in the NHL right now, with Connor McDavid with 92 points, Leon Draisaitl with 76 points, and Erik Karlsson with 66 points. So this is a team, the Pacific team here, that really can score. Now, they will be facing the Central team. And before we move on to the Central Division and who the players are on this, it's really interesting. Bo Horvat here coming in representing the Islanders. We know the Islanders are now the Metropolitan Division, but he was voted in from Vancouver and then traded from Vancouver. So I'm 99.9% sure they're not going to put a Vancouver Canucks jersey on him. That would be absolutely wrong. He will be representing the Islanders team, playing on the Pacific Division team. I don't know if this has ever happened before. So if you guys have seen this happen before, let me know. I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think we've ever been in a situation where someone got traded after voting, getting voted in. So it's a Pacific Division with the Metropolitan player playing on it with Bo Horvat now with the New York Islanders. So that's really interesting. If they make him wear a Canucks jersey, that will be absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think that will happen. But yeah, I think the Pacific team is loaded here. We have Elias Peterson as well, coming from Vancouver. Kadri out of Calgary. This will be his second time. Looking at who has had the most appearances out of the Pacific Division, Connor McDavid, this will be his 6th appearance, and Erik Karlsson of the San Jose Sharks, this will be his 7th. So both goaltenders, their first time playing these All-Star games. Again, the All-Star games are 3-on-3. Again, don't bet big on these if you're just joining me here. So looking at the Central Division, it's really interesting. I love the matchup we have here. I love the people we have from Colorado. When we look at the trio that from the Avs, we have Makar, Rantanen, and McKinnon all on this team. This line should be absolutely phenomenal. Now, the Central has really got a solid defensive core here. All other teams only have one defensive player, but we see out of the Central, they have Seth Jones, Cale Makar, and Josh Morsley here. 3 top defensive players. Now, in goal, we have Connor Hellebuck from Winnipeg. This will be his 3rd time coming in here. And then Saros from the Nashville Predators, his 2nd appearance. This team is pretty loaded as well. The only first-timer here is Josh Robinson of Dallas, the forward out of Dallas. It will be his 1st time. Nathan McKinnon coming in with his 5th. So looking at this, I really do think the Pacific probably takes this one. This number 13.5 is so high. We don't see these All-Star games trending to the head over, but we've got to look at the players on both of these teams. And I think this one probably leans to that over. Again, am I going to bet it big? No. I'd rather just take the Pacific with that plus money in this one, put a couple of dollars on that here, and look for this team to go over their probably goals in this one. I really do think it's going to be a good game, you guys. So let's look at the next matchup on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern as well. So these four teams will be all playing at the same time. We have the Atlantic Division taking on the Metropolitan. The Atlantic coming in here at plus 200 and the Metropolitan that is all over. I'm looking at the final winner. The Metropolitan coming in at plus 110, the Atlantic at minus 134. And I think these are pretty good odds here. I do think the Atlantic is the better team. We have the Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk duel on the ice, with both of these brothers being able to play this game together, which is pretty cool. We have just a lot more experience on the Atlantic Division than we do on the Metro Division. Looking at the Metro Division, yes, incredible goalies with Igor Shesterkin here of the New York Rangers, and Sorokin coming in here for the Islanders. Adam Fox, defenseman out of the New York Rangers, also absolutely phenomenal here for the Metropolitan Division. But this is his first time. It's Igor Shesterkin's first time, and Sorokin's first time playing in this All-Star game. We also look at, we've got just so many first-time players picked here. Kevin Hayes, it's his first time. We have Alex Ovechkin, his 8th time playing. Panarin coming in his first time. So many first timers here. We got Johnny Gaudreau coming in his 7th. Sidney Crosby, of course, his 5th. I think the Metro Division will put up a big fight against the Atlantic, but at the end of the day, I think the Atlantic team is more loaded. That's why we're getting them at minus 134. Goaltending for the Atlantic Division is Andrei Vasilevskiy out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is his 4th time, and Omar coming in here for the Boston Bruins. This will be his first. So give me the Atlantic Division here to beat the Mets. So then when we look at the Atlantic versus the Pacific, which I think is where we're going to see this one go. And if you can take anytime goal scorers for these events, I don't know. My book's not offering them. There's so many loaded goal scorers, and this is why this is the All-Star game. So the total in this one is 11.5. Again, I think it's a little high, but we've got so many playmakers as well as strong goaltending. I do lean to that under at minus 116, but again, it's not something I'm like rushing to bet, you guys. Remember, this is 3-on-3 hockey. We'll have one defenseman out there majority of the time, or they'll just push the 3 forwards out there too. We'll see one defenseman play a lot more in the Central Division, with them having 3 defensemen on this roster for this game. So when we just look at goaltending, we look at Skinner and Thompson for the Pacific, Hellebuck and Saros for the Central, Igor Shesterkin and Sorokin here for the Met, and Andrei Vasilevskiy and Omar here for the Atlantic. Who do I think has the better goaltending? I definitely think it's the Atlantic Division with Andrei Vasilevskiy and Omar here. We know how phenomenal both of these goalies are, but all 8 of these goalies are absolutely phenomenal. The Pacific, I guess, has the weakest goaltending here, as Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers and Logan Thompson of the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think that's why we're getting plus money with the Pacific in this one. But I think these are both phenomenal goaltenders. And we look at this Pacific team, I think they're loaded. So between the Pacific and the Atlantic, that's where I'm going for my final 2 to try to get the win. Taking the Atlantic right now is plus 200. The Pacific is plus 330. I kind of want to take the Pacific here to pull off kind of the upset win, the long shot win here in the Pacific. If you're looking at the Met or the Central coming in at plus 250 and the Metropolitan at plus 330. So the Atlantic, definitely the favorite to win it all at plus 200. I don't hate it, you guys. I think it really does come down to the Pacific and the Atlantic. So this is more a fun bet than anything. I'm going to sprinkle here on the Pacific at plus 330 right now, because tomorrow when these games play, and then we're going to get adjusted lines if it's the Pacific and the Atlantic. So you guys, enjoy the All-Star games. I want to thank you for joining me here to talk a little bit of fun hockey on the ice. Shout out to one of my besties here, Becky, for popping in. Becky, I'll give you a call when I'm not 100 miles an hour racing in these days. You guys, what else? Enjoy the weekend. I'll be on Sports Grid tonight. You can catch me all weekend on the grid as well. Cam Stewart and I will be breaking down and watching these all-star games, if I can talk, tomorrow on Sports Grid between 4 and 8 o'clock Eastern. So join me. We're going to live bet some of these and make some good freaking money. We'll also be looking at the basketball games and everything else happening for those 4 hours. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You can also find me on the grid on Sunday. The times elude me. I'm going to be with George. We all love George Kurtz. That will be from 1 to 4 on Sunday. You guys have a fantastic one. Join me on Sports Grid tonight as a guest with Gabe and Cam. It'll be a lot of fun. Talk to you guys later. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money. And don't forget, don't go heavy on the All-Star game. It's not worth your hard-earned money to lose it in these games. But I just wanted to come. I miss talking to you guys. Long story short, I miss being here. So have a good one, you guys. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money. Bye now. It's not ending. I'm just going to sit here.